What's going on, folks? Today it's all about Portulacaria Afra. So I just did a big pruning of my Portulacaria Afra tree, or it goes by different names like elephant bush, some people call it Dwarf Jade, things like that, all sorts of different names. We're just going to go with Portulacaria Afra. So sometimes people call this jade, I mean this is commonly known as jade, but they also call this jade. Now this is Portulacaria Afra and this is Crassula ovata. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but then again they also call like a money plant jade. I've heard of like pothos being called jade, so you know, I think jade is just like a common name for pretty much any plant that's green. But so these have been sitting out for about a week, just out on the table, so they can dry out, callus over, so they'll be ready for planting today. So we got a nice selection of, there's the biggest one here. That's a pretty nice one, a pretty thick trunk. The rest of them are smaller like this, stuff like this. So, but yeah, we're gonna try and fit them all into this pot and let's give it a shot. First problem is there's no drainage holes. So this pot is safe for drilling, so what I'm going to do is drill some drainage holes and then we can get started. Come on. Alright, so I got a 1-inch drill bit here and I'm going to try and put, I think, 5 holes in this. So you can see there's a lip around here that's lower than the middle part here. So I'd like to make the drainage holes at least cross over into that so that there's not water standing in this little pit here. So we'll do one in the middle. Then we'll do one here, 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 and here. Let's get started. Nice. Drainage hole 1, done. So I got a little spot for the waste down here. I'm not just chucking it over the porch. All right, so we got these drainage screens and they are just gonna sit over the holes like so and prevent our soil from draining out. Whoops, there we go. Now it's in frame. So now it's time to add some soil. So for the soil I'm using a mix of turfus, perlite, and a high-fired clay soil amendment. I think I'm going to add like a tiny organic component, maybe some fir bark and a little compost fir bark sand mix, just because these are still sort of in training, and let's see what we can do for them. I think it'll work. Alright, so we got our drainage screens here. I'm not going to wire them in. I'm just going to put the soil over it. We've got our soil mix here, and let's add it in. That's the problem I have with perlite. It seems to always kind of float to the top because it's the lightest particles, and it tends to be a little bit larger with the stuff I have. So in this case, all the perlite went in kind of first because it was on the top of the bucket. Okay, now it's time to prepare the cuttings. So these have been sitting out for a while, and you can see the leaves have become kind of wrinkly. It doesn't seem to want to focus. I have a better video. I'll show you how you can tell if your Portulacaria needs watering, or any jade for that matter, most succulents, and I'll show you that in a close-up. So here you can see what we've got going on. This Portulacaria Afra has not been watered, I think, in like over a month. So the leaves are very wrinkled. You can see the texture on them. Normally they have a shiny, like plump, turgid leaf, whereas here you can see there's a lot of texture on the leaf. It's not shiny. Some of them are less wrinkled than others, like you can see here. And if I try and bend it, the leaf is very, very flimsy, and I can practically fold it in half. You know, it just has nothing to it. So here I'll try and bend this one a little bit, and you can see it just gives with barely any pressure. Here's a leaf that's fallen off, but it's a good example of the texture of a dehydrated Portulacaria leaf. So this is what you're kind of looking for. It looks like this, you know you need to water. Or, you know, if they're really soft and flimsy, you know, it's definitely time to water. So now, as you can see, the leaves are nice and shiny. Let's see if I can get one here. They're firm and shiny. Not wrinkled anymore, so they're looking good. For example, this one. So before they were squishy, but now you can see they're firm and plump, no longer wrinkly. So they barely even bend when I squeeze on it, whereas before I could practically fold them in half. So to get started with these, we just want to remove the lower leaves, and I'll just do a couple of them here. Just want to basically break off the lower leaves, enough so that it can sit into the soil. Alright, it's really windy out, so I'm just going to try and make this happen. So, like I said, I did have them sitting out on the counter for like a week or so before this, but I did tear off new leaves on the bottom, so there are kind of open wounds at the base. So I'm not going to water this right away. I'll probably wait at least another week until I do water this, just to avoid rot and any kind of problems with the base of the plant. There we go, done with the potting. The wind was a bit of a struggle, but we got it done. Everything's still standing. I did add a little bit of a organic component on like the top quarter or half inch of soil, and then I put a top dressing of the bonsai soil over the top of that. Let's see how these guys do. I'm just gonna kind of let these guys live in this pot for a few years, let them thicken up, and see what they turn into. See you next time.